Hey, good morning, everybody. So, this has been one of the craziest last 15 hours I've ever seen in my life. I mean, at one point, everybody was talking about the submarine that went into the ocean and all the rich people that died. And then everybody started to kind of shift to the 700 migrants that are basically like missing. A bunch of them are presumed to be dead. And then all of a sudden, this private military group leader just comes out of nowhere and says, yeah, we're invading Russia, even though we were allied with them just last week. And then the entire internet just went crazy. And now we are in a situation where this news is dominating the headlines. I want to give a nice little short breakdown of everything going on for those who don't know and make sure everybody understands. And so as of right now, the main headline is that Russia could very well be on the brink of a civil war and are currently fighting against a military coup that is being headed by a person named Prigozhin. Now, for those who don't know what Prigozhin is the chief of the private military group called Wagner, which has tens of thousands of fighters under its control. Keep in mind, these are Russia's own mercenaries that they were working with that are invading them, okay? Now, this Prigozhin guy, he has claimed to have taken control of Rostov-on-Don, which is a crucial command center for the Kremlin's war in Ukraine. He has also claimed to have taken control of Bakhmut. I'm sorry, I'm horrible at pronouncing this stuff, but apparently that is a city in eastern Ukraine. And I want you guys to understand, this military group, Wagner, literally was working with Russia in their invasion of Ukraine literally just a few weeks ago. Like, this was just happening. And that's why this news is so shocking, is because you're literally saying, you're literally getting to the point of the Ukraine conflict with Russia, where Russia's own forces, you could kind of say, are starting to turn against them, which is absolutely insane. Now, what's the backstory here, and who on earth is Prigozhin? Well, apparently, Prigozhin is a former convict who built a restaurant business in St. Petersburg and later founded the private mercenary company called Wagner, which did play an active role in a conflict in Ukraine on behalf of Russia. However, although he has fought on behalf of Russia, Prigozhin has, for the most part, been a relentless critic of the military command of Russia. And this part is extremely important because I'm sure a lot of people out here probably didn't know that. But this didn't really come out the blue like you might think. I mean, it did, but not really, because he has been very critical of Russia's military command, and he has been extremely critical of their defense minister. He's been very critical of him. So Prigozhin has accused the Russian military leadership of lying about events, lying about certain aspects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and he has even warned of the risk of civil war, which some think is pretty much happening right now. Prigozhin has also frequently clashed with Russian military leaders and has even published videos that contradict the main Russian narrative of a smooth military operation in Ukraine. So basically, Russia has been saying in their media that we are destroying them, we're winning, blah, blah, blah. Prigozhin's like, that's not true. This is not true. That's not true. Things are not going all that well, to be honest with you. And I absolutely hate the Russian defense minister is kind of what's going on. Now, just to give further updates, in a critical video that was posted to Russian social media app Telegram, Prigozhin chastised the country's leadership for starting the war and said the Ukrainian forces were successfully pushing back the Russian military. Prigozhin has also demanded the resignation of Russian defense minister Sergei Shoigu, accusing him of ordering a rocket strike on Wagner's field camps in Ukraine, where its soldiers are fighting on behalf of Russia against Ukrainian forces. I do want to keep in mind, this is what Prigozhin is saying, but nobody has been able to confirm if that is actually true or not. But what's crazy about this whole thing is, keep in mind, he's always been critical of Russia's military command. He absolutely hates Russian defense minister Sergei. He absolutely hates that guy. So, I don't really know what to make of it, but he's claiming that the Russian defense minister basically attacked their own troops, which is them, because they were working with Russia while they were helping Russia fight against Ukraine. So it's just an absolute mess that you're seeing here. So much drama. And things have escalated even further because the Russian Federal Security Service, otherwise known as the FSB, has criticized Prigozhin's calls for conflict, calling them a stab in the back of Russian servicemen fighting pro-fascist Ukrainian forces. The FSB also responded by telling Russian media that a criminal case has been opened against Prigozhin in response to the declaration for war, and the FSB has also called for the arrest of Prigozhin. So you're pretty much you're just downright seeing a civil war pretty much breaking here. Like, there's no other way to say it. This is absolutely a coup in my opinion, and we're pretty much on the brink of a civil war because, just so you guys know, Prigozhin has been like sending like voice memos and talking on Telegram and just saying like, anybody that gets in my way will be destroyed. We're going to keep going. We're not going to stop. Like, this has really turned into a legit internal conflict within the country of Russia. By the way, they're not too far from Moscow. Like, just to keep that in mind, like, this is crazy. Now, things actually took a turn because Putin actually ended up going live. He addressed the nation on national television in his 6-minute speech. He ended up labeling Prigozhin's mercenary revolt an armed mutiny and vowed to put down the effort. Putin also said some pretty threatening words. He said that all those who prepared the rebellion will suffer inevitable punishment, and that the armed forces and other government agencies have received the necessary orders to basically do what needs to be done. So you're just downright seeing an all-out conflict happening in the country of Russia. So that, for the most part, is what I've been able to confirm. Right now on Twitter, you're seeing a bunch of videos of helicopters getting shot down, tanks rolling around, military running around everywhere, explosions, bombings, accusations that Prigozhin has taken this city and that city, and Wagner Group has taken this stronghold, and it really has just turned into a mess. And so now, what does this mean in terms of the Russia-Ukraine conflict? Well, obviously, I'm not an expert, but I'm just going to kind of state kind of the obvious things. One of the things for sure is Prigozhin's call for a march of justice, which is something that he did say on Telegram against the Russian military leadership. That could inspire other military groups that work with Russia to take similar actions, which could further destabilize the country. When you have internal conflicts like that, and you're having internal conflicts from two powerful forces, you got the FSB, you got the Russian Vladimir Putin-controlled military, but then you're going against a private military group who has tens of thousands of soldiers. Yes, that could absolutely lead to the destabilization of a country if the other side ends up prevailing, which so far it looks like they're doing a pretty good job. Like, they're literally taking over cities and stuff like that. The situation could also further escalate the conflict in Ukraine, considering that the group is no longer under the control of the Russian government. So not only did they lose a group of people that they thought were fighting with them, but now those people are fighting against them. So now you're fighting two different fronts, right? You're fighting a war on two different fronts. You're fighting your own internal conflict, but then you also have a bunch of your troops over in another country trying to invade them and take over parts of that country. So it really does just turn into a mess. Now, one of the other things that I do want to report on is, which, by the way, this report is false. I just want to keep that in mind. But I'm seeing a lot of reports on Twitter. I even saw that Mario Narfall reported on this, but basically NBC News has kind of came out and kind of said that that's wrong. You know, Mario Narfall, who I'm sure most of you guys know, he's very popular on Twitter. He covers the news. He's like an entrepreneur and a crypto guy or whatever. But anyway, Mario Narfall was one of the biggest people on Twitter I saw reporting this. He said that basically Vladimir Putin left Moscow. There are reports of private jets leaving Moscow, and apparently one of those private jets is actually Vladimir Putin's private jet. And so there are reports that he actually left Moscow and he's headed for St. Petersburg. And I just want to make it clear that not only has that not been confirmed, but NBC News actually came out and said that a Russian state official came out and said that that's not true and that Vladimir Putin is still in Moscow. He has not left, which would honestly make sense to me. I don't know why he would leave. I think it would make sense to stay, unless obviously they're right at the doorstep invading. Then maybe you would leave. I don't know. But anyway, guys, this is just an absolute crazy situation that's going on. We have no idea how this is going to turn out. There are also some other people out there, which, by the way, I think this is stupid, but there's a lot of people out there who are kind of going a conspiracy route and saying that not only did they use the submarine situation over in Canada with the Titanic to kind of hide some of the corruption that's happening with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, but now they're pivoting to this Russia stuff, this Russia internal conflict, in order to hide what's going on with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. By the way, I just want to make it clear, I think that's stupid. I don't agree with that at all. I don't believe in a whole, it's a distraction to keep you away from what's really going on. Well, actually, no. Let me take that back. I do believe in that. Let me take that back. I do believe that in some cases you do have distractions from certain things, but I do not think that that is happening in this case. Let me be very careful here. I absolutely believe that the mainstream media will sometimes specifically not cover a story and cover other stories to keep us focused on those stories that they're covering and just throwing in our faces over other stories. I do agree with that. That does absolutely happen for sure. But the reason why I don't think that's happening in the Hunter Biden case is because I think that we have further to go for things to escalate more in that case. I do not think that the Hunter Biden thing has reached like the peak yet. I know they're talking about it in Congress. There's some things going on, but I'm waiting to see when those recordings come out. I truly believe that when the recordings come out, whenever we actually get the recordings, verified proof that Joe Biden was in the room with Hunter Biden and that Joe Biden has something to do with some of this bribery allegations that are going on, that's when I think that the media will cover it. And if they don't, then I will agree with you guys. But no, I actually think that the media is covering this because this is actually a huge deal, because we could possibly see the destabilization of Russia. And this could have a huge impact on the war in Ukraine, which, by the way, a lot of people out there think that we are on the brink of World War III. So I do not blame the mainstream media at all for talking about this Russia stuff, because, yes, this is serious. I know that typically Americans don't care about other countries. Typically, Americans only care about what's going on in America and American politics and what's going on. But I just want to make it very clear that you definitely are going to best believe that you're going to want to pay attention to this Russia-Ukraine and this Russia-Prigozhin stuff, because this could absolutely have a ripple effect across the entire world, depending on the outcome of this conflict and what actually happens. So anyway, that's my update for today. We will see what happens as things go on. I will continue to bring updates as I get them. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.